All right, so I'm going to get started. We don't have a ton of people here, but I didn't want to not do this and then I had to move it. I apologize because we were having some technical difficulties. So we're going to go ahead and get this started. And as people join, they can ask questions. For right now, what you need to know is that we are going to post this in some of our groups, and that way you have it. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and share my screen here. And there's a couple of things that I believe are really important when you're building all of this. And so the very first thing is to actually have a spreadsheet of sorts that you come up with, you know, before the start date, obviously. And then once they do start, you want items that are going to bounce off of that. Right. And I think if you map it out this way first, I always teach people to map it out this way with whatever the task is or the email or whatever. Whatever the time frame is, and then who's in charge of it, because then what you can do is you can then line by line go through and actually build it into something like Brivity. And so you'll see here, Brivity is really great. So, and that's why we use it, because I think that there's a lot that you can do here. And let me just pull this up. We're going to still have some technical difficulties here. Like the fact that the edit button and everything is just missing here. So hold on 1 second for me. Let me make it smaller. And all right, so you can see right here that you can actually bounce off of events in Brivity. That's why we use this. And you can bounce off the hire date, and you can bounce off of other dates that you put in here as well. So we think that's really important. But as you saw in this plan here, you're gonna have a number of items that are gonna start before and then after. One of the things that I want to draw to your attention is there's going to be a lot of tasks in the beginning. For us, there's a lot of tasks that are going to go to an operations manager or somebody else involved in it. That's our listing manager. Right. And they're going to have a lot of tasks that have to do with onboarding somebody. But then the primary agent is going to be our new agent that we've hired. And so we've built this in a lead plan under the auto plans, not in a transaction plan. You could have a transaction where you put in, you know, new hire, new agent, and then have transaction plans that go. And there's a lot more that you can do with transaction plans because you can bounce off of any kind of date in there. And so just know that. But if you do it in the lead plans here, there's less that you can do. So for example, let me just show you here. For roles, you've got account owner and you've got the primary agent, and then you've got names, right? But if, say, we have Bridget who's not here anymore, right? And she was responsible for this piece of it because she was our marketing person. Now, all of a sudden, I have to go through this plan and change everything because it was set up as a lead plan and not a transaction plan. So let me actually back up and start there really quickly. So if you are operating in Brivity, you can have transaction plans that do a lot more. So you just saw how that was. And let me actually go into the team members leaving, which we have in here as a transaction plan. And let me just show you, for example, you can have the transaction coordinator and all of the, you know, people that are involved, you can have them have tasks. And so how I would do that, if we just go a step further here, if you wanted to do transaction plans and you wanted everything to bounce off of there, is I would actually create, I always do it under buyer because I look at it as like somebody's buying your services. So I look at this same way as like onboarding somebody, they're buying the team services. And you could put something else in here if you wanted property type wise, like you could put any property type in there. So you could say new agent or whatever you want there. Just so you guys know. So you can fool with Brivity a little bit to make this really fun and usable, in my humble opinion. You've got, so street address, this is what I would say is new agent. Okay, and then I would put, let's just say Lindsay Ciprani is coming on. Now you're gonna have to fill out some of this stuff. So I'm gonna put my actual zip code. By the way, you could do another dash and say, hey, my address is Taylor Street, Kennett Square, PA 19348. Source of business, you can have different sources in here, right? We could say it was like another agent referral or whatever. And then we can come through and we can actually say who's going to be stuff. So you can have executive assistant, you can have team owner be me, you can have a transaction coordinator, and so on. Let's just leave that for right now. Oh, I didn't select the primary agent. Let's put me. Now I've got a new one. So then I can come in here and I can apply the auto plan that I was talking about. And you can see it says new agent in here. So now in my transactions, right? Oh, and hold on. Let me just open this up a little bit more for you. So it's going to go straight to pending. I mean, you could do this in whatever you want. I'm going to put this pending, and they're pending their onboarding, right? And you can, again, have custom dates in here. So you guys could put, you know, like we already have a hire date in there, but you could put something like, you know, signed paperwork date, and you can have things bounce off of signed paperwork. You could have, you know, when they get their first listing, you could actually have a date in here, you guys, that's a custom date that says first listing date. And then the moment that you actually put a date in there, you can have tasks that apply after that, right? Or say, you know, first open house, you can have tasks bounce off of that teach them all the open houses. So you can go a little bit nuts and you can go real crazy in here with those kind of things, which I'm more apt to do. I don't suggest that all the time. So that's when we're coming in here, we're going to teach you the easiest way to do this. And the easiest way is through your listing, or not the listing, sorry, this would be the listing. It would be through the lead plans, not through transaction plans. But transaction plans would give you so much more ability to do things. So I hope that makes sense. And then I'll make myself available for questions once I post this. So, all right. So you could use it this way. You could be really robust. And once somebody puts dates in, right? Because what you would do is you would add them as a client. So say I'm onboarding Nicole Baffa on my team. Okay. And I'm going to put her as, you can put her as the agent, right? Because you're going to want her, or rather, I'm sorry, she's going to be in here as a buyer. If you're doing it this way, I keep forgetting that I'm showing you how to do a transaction plan right now. You can grant them login and access, all those different things, but I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to put her in here. And then everything that funnels through from the plan would come in as her with a buyer. So like if you have emails or text messages go to her that say, hey, did you watch this video? Make sure you mark your task complete. She'd have to be listed as a buyer. Hopefully I'm not confusing you too much, but there's just a lot more power here. And this is the workaround that I've created if somebody wants to do it this way. And there are a lot of admin that I coach and consult that want as much power as they can have in some of these plans, in which case you would actually have to do a transaction plan and you would have to create a transaction for it. The only other place that you can do this is through projects, and you can have project plans. But again, those are not going to be nearly as robust, in my opinion. But you can have really good project plans that you create in the plans. Okay. So let's go back to settings now that you've kind of seen how I would have created this. And remember, we dumbed it down for us. We just went with the straight lead plan because you can do it that way. And I'm going to go into my agent onboarding plan here. You can see we have a million plans. Okay. So you can see here that we're going to have things happening before they even start, right? And a lot of it's going to be task heavy, right? Because we've got a lot of things that the admin's going to have to do, or the admin team are going to have to do. Now, I do want to take you though to some of these emails here. So I think it's really great to have training already ready. And so let me just show you this. This is a big part of what I believe is really important here. You should be creating, in my opinion, an agent training library of sorts. And you should have videos that the owner, whoever, right, has created on here, because I think it's really important to be able to have somebody. So like we have like real live listing appointments here, right? We have mirroring and matching that we think is really important. We've got buyer consultation, the listing presentation, another, listing presentation when you're live. We had to do virtual and listing presentations that were not virtual because obviously we all went into the virtual world last year. How does showing time work? You just got a new listing. Now what does the admin do? You just sold a listing. Now what does the admin do? Terminating an agreement of sale, calling through, circle calling through Mojo, and so on. And so we have 22 videos that we feel like are really important. And what we do is we create these emails, and that's associated with it too, right? They should watch a video and then mark the task complete, that they've actually completed that task. And so what would happen is this email comes out to them and we say, hey, we put everything on YouTube and we can see it. Let me actually show you some of that really quickly. So you've got 17 views here, right? You can pull up analytics in YouTube, and YouTube's free, don't forget. And you can see the average amount of time that somebody's watched. Now, this is an hour long. Check it out. Right? So I really want you to know that even though you make videos and you do video training, agents are less likely to watch these things. And so we have started putting something in a lot of when we're consulting for people, we have now put things in here that say, hey, remember that we can see how long you've watched the video. So remember to watch till the end, because we noticed with our own onboarding that people are like, well, I got a listing, I don't know what to do. And here's the thing, like, we're going to walk you through that anyways on our team. Like we want to be able to do that. But like, if you can go in and like actually like watch a video and see it, like you should remember some of it, I would hope. And, but you're seeing that there's a lot in there that like, they haven't watched a lot. And so, remember, you're still going to have to take them through it, but I still feel like these are really good, and they can always go back and revisit things. They're getting in an email. They have the task list that has been assigned to them, right? And so they have tasks that they actually have to complete. And then they can go back and look at it through Brivity. So at any rate, you can bounce off the event, right? So like 12 days after the hire date, for example, I always have it come from me, but again, you're very limited here. You either have to have a user, or you have to say the account owner or the primary agent is them, right? We've applied this lead plan and they're the primary agent getting everything. Okay, so this is an example of an email. And then once you've got an email though, like that, right, there should always be a task that you can either bounce off the email, right? Or you can actually just have it, a couple days later. So in this case, this is 1 day later. It says, hey, did you watch this video? They would have to mark it complete, right, on their end. And then here we just always put it again in the notes so that they've got it if they didn't watch it, because this is their fail safe. So the goal is for everybody to be marking everything off, right? And then you would have the primary agent actually has all of these tasks that are assigned to them as well to mark complete, saying that, yeah, I watched the FSBO and expired video, check. Yes, I watched, what happens with inspections and how to read an inspection report, right? We have really cute little things too, like scheduling the pickup of cupcakes and, doing a congrats on your work anniversary for 30 days. Their first check we're going to give to the CEO and have it hand delivered, right? These tasks just stay in there until we have those happen right now, because we didn't do it the powerful way of creating transactional plans. We used the lead plans. And again, lead plans, there's not as much as you can't do as much. Whereas in the transactions, you can have all those custom dates and everything in there and really, I think you can really make it powerful, because in that transaction, again, you could say, hey, here's their first open house and all of these things are going to come off of that. Or, hey, they went under contract for the first time and here are all the tasks that are come on from that. You can't do as much in the leads. So I hope that I'm driving that point home, but you don't have to do that. You can have these sit in there and they can get rescheduled and all that fun stuff. All right. We also think it's really important to show showing time, and there's MLS videos, like how does that work and what is that, what does that look like, right? And how to create a CMA, and there's a lot of things that you have to figure out. So my hope is that what you'll do is you'll create something here in a spreadsheet that's like, what are all the things that they actually need training on to be an agent, and how can we get them successful right away? And then how can we have them be responsible for things too, right? Like, so like we want them to create an RPR account, right? So they'd have to learn how to do that, right? There are tasks that we said, did you watch this video? And did you schedule the reply to inspections training with the team admin, right? We actually put that on them, like to say, hey, I need to schedule this. My task says I have to schedule this. They should be able to reach out to the admin to get those things scheduled. And then you're going to be demonstrating that you know how you're doing things, right? And so you can do two different things with this. You can sit down and demonstrate that you know how to do everything and that you've watched all of these tasks, or watched all the videos rather, and you would sit down with the lead admin and demonstrate that you know how to do that, and we would have some kind of assessment ready to go. Or you can create an assessment in forms, which we also have, where we ask them questions to see if they actually absorbed what we've taught them in this. And you saw, this is what, 60 some tasks, right? So it's a lot, but at the end of the day, we have a strong desire to do, to onboard them really well, and videos are a big part of that. You saw that there's a YouTube library for that stuff. And then they also get a nice folder and binder that has like all of the plans that we do and everything that we do for them, all the emails that we send out on their behalf and all that fun stuff. So hopefully this was useful. And if you have any questions, go ahead and drop them in and I will make sure that I answer them. But my hope is that by showing you in Brivity that there's the lead plans and the transaction plans, and that you can be really, really amazing in the transaction plans if you just do that little workaround that I showed you. My hope is that you might consider that. Or if you go the other way, you can just have the lead plan. It's just dumbed down a little bit, but like it's really great. And remember, you can have text messages and things go out. So from Brivity, it's just, there's a lot more that you can do in a transaction. So, and it can come from other people, right? So in the transaction plan, you can have it come, like a text message can go out to your new agent, which would be the buyer, from your operations manager. But then another text can go out from the transaction coordinator, and a text can go out from you as the lead agent, saying, hey, I saw that this happened. Congratulations. They don't even, it's your business line. We do that kind of stuff. And so we build those kind of things all the time for people, and transaction plans allow you to do it a little bit more. So hopefully you guys will have the chance to build something really powerful. Would love to see what you guys build. And if you want to run things by me and ask me questions, please do so. The goal of this was to help you guys be as powerful as possible on Brivity. Bye.